Oh.
Are you over that now?
I could have watched the film for hours if she'd have been just her walking around the Scottish Highlands.
I didn't find her so striking, I have to say.
Oh. But we all know about your taste, don't we, Nathaniel? We don't need to go down that street again, do we?
It's not just the attraction of the anus that appeals. You know, I do like a nice vagina as well.
Do you?
I do.
When was the last time you sampled one?
Last week.
Really?
Yes.
And what did you do?
None of your bloody business.
Oh, okay. How old was this vagina?
Helen Chamberlain, you want to tell us any more?
Don't be ridiculous.
Then shut your face.
Okay. I've got a question for you.
Go on.
Why would the Mountaineers have gone to so much trouble to help that young girl? She's only Serbian.
Well, let me think about that for a moment. Let's just say, come on, Nathaniel, be delicate. Most of the people, it may come as a surprise, but most of the people have some sense of compassion.
Right.
And they will show this compassion towards humanity and to such a degree that they will even help their fellow person, even if they're from a different country.
Right.
I know it's a bizarre concept to you, but I just want to put that out there, put it in your mind, that kind of scenario can happen.
I don't approve, but I know that you're right.
Okay. Well, at least
Rating, what would you give it, Nathaniel?
I'll give it 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10? Whoa, we're not far off here this week, Nathaniel. 3 out of 10 for me. Okay then, people, this is the part of the podcast where we delve back into the archives, and this time we're diving back 4 years to 2007, where me and Nathaniel have watched The Mist. The plot: a small town in Maine suffers a severe thunderstorm, with trees blown down and general chaos wrought. The following day, the locals are packing the supermarket, panic buying and picking up supplies to clear up the weather-borne detritus, when a mist rolls into town from the nearby hills, with one man racing into the supermarket, blood dripping from his face, claiming that there is something in the mist. The natives are sceptical, right up to the point when tentacles emerge and snatch one of their own from under their noses. The place is locked down, with stocks piled up against the glass front of the building, but within, a new threat emerges as factions begin to form. One supporting a fundamentalist Christian local, the other behind David Drayton, the hero of the piece. What do we reckon, Nathaniel?
Well, I'm going to steal one of your quotes, Richard, if I may.
Rubbish.
Rubbish.
Ooh.
Low budget, plastic, miserable. Rubbish.
Ooh.
The Mist. Can we start with The Mist itself?
Okay.
I mean, you'd have thought that the props guys would have gotten something other than a bloody dry ice machine to make this stuff. You know,
right.
Give it a murky green tint, something vaguely sinister.
Mm.
You know, to do that was just amateurish.
So your objection to The Mist is that it's the wrong colour?
My objection to The Mist is that it was absolutely unforeboding.
Ah.
It looked like an invite for children to go and play in.
Okay, yeah.
About it at all.
Mm.
And the monsters, were they selected from Toys R Us?
Mm.
I mean, the one that emerged from underneath the shuttered door, it looked like something I used to play with at primary school. You know, not and then in the supermarket, you've got the browbeating Christian.
Mm-hmm.
She's so extreme that she can't be taken seriously. You know, you get the impression that she's just there as some kind of theatrical act.
What, you think she's just there to increase the runtime? Is that what you're saying?
It's filler, I think you can describe her.
The filler.
Yeah,
right.
She played no worthwhile part. She was so extreme that she couldn't be taken seriously. She's just a total joke figure.
Right.
And then, of course, there's the infamous ending, which I would love to ruin it, just to prevent the listeners from...
Oh, you can't do that, Nathaniel.
I can't.
Please don't.
I won't. Out of a mode of professionalism, for once, I'll resist that temptation.
Good, good.
But that's no message for anybody to see.
So you didn't like it?
I didn't like it at all. Keep your thoughts, Richard.
Well, I've got to tell you that any film which features tentacles is generally okay by me, so I warmed to it initially. I do like a nice tentacle.
Yes.
I've got to say. I remember Independence Day, the Will Smith big budget actioner from the mid-90s. Critically panned, people hated it. But I've got to say, I liked it just because of the tentacles. So, I'm easily pleased in that regard.
Really?
It's not really a monster movie though, Nathaniel. You seem to be painting it as a little bit.
No, you're putting words in my mouth again. No, I didn't say that at all, did I?
It seemed like you focused on the poor special effects.
It seemed like it, but I didn't. Anyway, you make your point.
Well, you focused on the what you perceive to be poor special effects. But this isn't a monster movie. This is a movie more about the instinct for survival.
Fair comment.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
So to make a big deal out of the fact that the effects were pretty ropey, I suppose I'd find a bit harsh, but that's obviously what you feel.
Well, there's no opinion about it. They were ropey.
Well, the director Frank Darabont, who, of course, has quite a fondness for Stephen King adaptations. This is obviously based on a novella by Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Darabont has quite a fondness for his works, having previously adapted The Shawshank Redemption. Considered to be one of the top 5 best movies of all time by many people.
Mm.
And also The Green Mile with that insufferable worm, Tom Hanks. Clearly likes the material, tends to be able to elevate the material to a higher plane, I would suggest.
Well, I don't think he elevated it very highly at all.
Mm. Now, you mentioned that Mrs. Carmody's character, the evangelical Christian.
Right.
And of course, the central hero is meant to be Drayton, the kind of square-jawed, muscular artist.
Yes.
But I found it to be something of an anti-hero. As the true hero was clearly Mrs. Carmody.
Yeah, that's an interesting take you've got there. Are you going to explain that a little bit more?
All she wanted was for as many people as possible to survive.
Well, it just shows the state of humanity, doesn't it? If that's meant to paint the picture of reality, the people got behind that comic joke-like figure.
Mrs. Carmody plans to appease God by making human sacrifices, which is fair enough under the circumstances. Pick the weakest and feed them to the beast.
Wasn't there a scene where she demanded the sacrifice of the young child?
The weakest.
You'd go along with that, would you?
Of course I would. Under those circumstances, you think about it, it's sensible.
Sensible.
Of course it's sensible. You've got a beast at the door, shrouded in mist, an undefeatable enemy. If you feed it small children, the infirm, the old, if that appeases it, keeps it away from the fit, from the healthy, from those that can breed and procreate and continue the species, what's wrong with that?
Well, I feel obliged to speak for the majority again, Richard, and I would suggest in such scenarios, the main course of action, and for the men, would be protect the women and the children.
You protect the women, you feed the children to the creature, not feed the children snacks or anything. You feed the children to the creatures.
Yeah, it's a particularly evil viewpoint you've got there, Richard.
Protect the women. I totally agree with that. So it's not entirely evil. At worst, I'm partially evil, Nathaniel.
Because they can spawn more food for the monsters, is that it?
Precisely that.
There we go.
You've got a production line. Perhaps you could train the monsters somehow to know that they can only come once a month or something and feast. because you have a conveyor belt system, a production line of women spitting out food for them to eat.
You seem to have quite a high opinion of the monsters. You seem quite affectionate towards them almost. Approving of them.
Well, think about this, Nathaniel. Who are they feeding on?
Well, in your world, they're feeding on the children.
American children.
Ah, right, okay. What about if they were British?
Well, then that'd be totally different, wouldn't it? I mean, we'd obviously we'd have to find a way to defeat them that didn't involve feeding our citizens to them, because that would be quite wrong.
You'd have some kind of screening involved, would you? Some kind of...
What do you mean screening? What are you talking about? They're not mosquitoes.
To distinguish the Yanks from the Brits.
We just get them to talk.
They're children, man.
Get them to try and get them to do some maths.
Get them to gurgle in American, is that it?
Get them to do some maths. The ones that can add up.
Well, they've got such a logical response, so I can't argue.
I'll tell you something else. Stephen King, clearly in league with Satan himself, and he must be stopped. I urge all listeners, never go to see a movie based on a Stephen King story. Certainly never purchase a book written by the man. He is evil personified.
Well, contained within your vile opinions, Richard, occasionally you have a grain of sense. And I do find myself somewhat agreeing, actually. I mean, he's some... Don't swear, Nathaniel. But he's some dark fella that we're talking about, isn't he?
He's clearly in league with Lucifer. He's sold his soul to the devil. How else do you explain that an author whose style and quality of novels is so poor can sell so many copies? Millions and millions of books this man sold. There can be only one explanation. This is a pact with the devil.
Well, I'm not sure where his thoughts and his creativity comes from, but...
Satan!
It's a pretty dark place.
Satan himself.
It is Satan. That's Satan himself.
Now then, there were no attractive women in this movie. Did you notice that, Nathaniel?
I didn't notice that.
And that was very disappointing, I thought. I've got a bit of an eye for the ladies since Wednesday.
Right.
And that not one of these, I wouldn't, put it that way. I wouldn't. Would you?
I wouldn't do what?
You make your own mind up. Stick your little, insignificant little pecker anywhere near them.
Anywhere near what?
Anywhere near them. Them.
Who's them?
The women.
Oh, women.
The ugly women in this movie.
Well, I've just revealed to you that I had some kind of relations a week ago.
Yeah, but not with one of the women. Surely, what a coincidence it would be if the person that you had sexual liaisons with happened to be one of the stars of The Mist.
Well, she wasn't.
Exactly, so what are you talking about?
There were other women in the world, Richard.
Of course there are other women in the world, Nathaniel. That wasn't the point I was making.
I thought it was.
You bloody listen, will you? Bloody listen. The ending to this film is totally predictable. I guessed what was going to happen within 10 minutes of this film starting. I even guessed before the mist rolled into town. It was pathetic.
You're talking absolute balls, Shittlebob. How can you possibly predict that ending?
Well, I predicted it, Nathaniel. Unless you think I'm a liar.
I do think you're a liar. It's very easy to say. Prove it.
Well, how on earth can I prove
exactly,
that?
You can't.
What a nonsense statement. I can't prove that.